morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. It all goes into a blur, doesn't it, as we're approaching Christmas. You don't know what day is which. You don't know whether it's morning, afternoon, evening. But anyway, welcome everyone to another craft along. If you're crafting along with us, then that will be great. If you're just going to watch and then craft along maybe later on, or next week even, or in between Christmas and New Year, it's entirely up to you when you do this. Or you might just want to sit and watch and view and enjoy the chatter that we have with each other. So we are going to be using today our lovely floral and flutter dies. So I'm going to tell you now exactly what you'll need. If you've got these in your collection, then you can make this project. A little bit unusual, a little bit busy, but we'll go through it and we'll tell you all about it. So first of all, what you will need is your floral and flutter die and stamp set. You will also need your Watercolour Waves 12 by 12 paper pad if you've got that one. Also some Watercolour Cardstock, some Holographic Washi tapes, the nesting die circles, the stitched edged scallop circle dies because we can interact those with each other. Also you'll need some glitter markers and they are from the Vibrant Floral set. You will need some of your Colorista fine line pens or just a fine line pen, chameleon ink pads in the lavender haze and some clear embossing powder. And then the additional items you'll need is the Gemini 2, and I've used the Gemini Mini as well because we've got a lot of small dies in this. Guillotine, scoreboard, scissors, poker tool, heat tool, a stamping platform or one of your rocker blocks if you have those, tacky glues and red liner tape and some adhesive foam pads. And that's all you will need for the project. So we're going a little bit more kind of spring summer with this one, even though we're still in the depths of Christmas, and obviously we're all excited for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day next week and Boxing Day, which is the day we all rest, I think, after eating lots of food and having lots of visitors. That's the chilling day, isn't it? So a good day for crafting as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off first of all. Now bring the project in so you can see. As with the floral and flutter dies, these are an unusual concept because what you get is you get a half flower and then you get all the little kind of bits and bobs that would float off or fall off or would hang around the flower when it's, you know, when there's pollen floating around, little flies, little insects, butterflies, etc., etc. So it's a really unusual set, but it's very, very beautiful. So what we've got, I've decided to use all three of the big flowers on the one card, and then we've just used some of the little elements as well. And we've created a background with the glitter pens. So what we're going to do, I'll keep that kind of nearby, but I might need to keep bringing it in and moving it out before we actually get on with everything. So I've started off with a, my card is 6 by 8. Now I know that's an unusual measurement. If you have got an A3 piece of card, you can make one of these from an A3 piece. If you haven't, you can use just A4 sheets and cut them down to size. So one would be 6 by 8.5, and you'd score it at the 8 part. 8 line, and then the other would just be 6 by 8, and you attach them together. And we're having the fold at the top this time, so it will stand up with like a tent fold. Right, so we've got the Watercolour Waves cardstock, and I've cut this down to size, and that will go onto the card there. It's just a little bit less, so we've still got that nice white border. And then with your watercolour card, what you need to do, and I'll give you the measurement for this just in case. I know some of you do it by eye, like myself, but you can obviously do a measurement if you want to. And this is 5.5 by 7 thereabouts. So give or take a, you know, an eighth of an inch or something like that. So, and then that will give us that nice border around the edge. So that is going to be the base. So I think we'll get those on, well, I'll get this one on here first because I want to show you how to do the background on this one. So what we'll do, we'll just pop this on with a little bit of glue. In fact, we can use, no, I use a tacky glue because that's what's on my list. And I'll just do this with the, straight out of the larger tube here. And then for the smaller ones, the smaller dies, we're going to be using the little bottle with the fine tip because that is easier for the small dies. So we're just going to pop that onto there. And you'll see as well, as we go along, I'm actually going to cut all the flowers from this cardstock as well. So let's pop that onto there. We can give it a little wiggle, get it in the right place, and then we can pop that to one side, and that will just start to dry. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, bring in your watercolour cardstock. Now we're going to create like a little background on here. So what I need to do is just pop these out of the way, just so that I don't get them covered in pen and the little splats that we're going to do. So I'm using the 3 colours that are kind of in the paper that we're using in the background colour. We've got some pink, some yellow and some purple. So now I wouldn't normally do this with a glitter marker, but the glitter markers, obviously they've got the ball bearing in, so you need to give them a little bit of a shake. I mean, it's already started coming out there without too much effort. And what I've done with this is I've got it kind of pumped so it's quite liquidy. And then like we do with a paint brush that's been dipped into a paint pot, we're just going to tap it on like this. Now you will have to bang quite a bit on here, so give it a little bit of force like this. And then what you'll need to do as well, pump it a little bit more so we've got quite a bit of paint on there. If you find that it's not coming out as much as you want it to, there's no problem in just doing that, in just doing yourself some nice blobs. You can still do that if you want to. So if you feel like, oh, I've not got enough yellow up there, then you can do that. Now bear in mind with these, they do take a while to dry, and because we're not watering it down, it will need to just sit and settle for a while. So what I did with mine, I've got one that's already done. I just wanted to show you how to do this, because this is not something we would usually do with the glitter pens. So again, we're going to tap quite hard on it like that, and you'll see how it does still spatter. Just make sure you've got some something underneath to protect your surface. And then again, we'll do the same with the pink. So we'll get the pink going, and then again we can pop the pink on. Now bear in mind as well with this, we're going to also be putting our like circles on here, so you don't need like too much. And if you find when you've got your circles on after, like we've got here, I did have a couple of little bare bits around, so I did go in with a couple extra more drops because I didn't quite know how the circles are going to fit on there. So that's what you can do. That's how you do that. Okay, and then you need to pop it to dry. I'm just going to grab a little bit of kitchen roll here just to wipe these drops off the mat that we've got. So you will do that all over with those 3 pens until you're happy with it. Put it to one side, and then if I bring this in here so you can see, I've actually done like and it's very kind of small, just a freehand stitch line all the way around with the purple fine liner. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of an edge or a little bit of a frame. Normally we would layer this onto like another mat, and I tried that and I felt like it took a bit of effect off the flowers, so that's why I've kept it just on white, but I've done a little bit of stitching. You could always ink around the edge as well, entirely up to you. So we've got that little piece done there now, and I would put more on there, but again we'll put that to one side and I'll bring in the one that I've already done, because this takes probably 20 minutes, half an hour to dry, especially if you've got like bigger globules like that. They need to just soak in a bit. Okay, so let me bring in the one I've got here. So you can see I've got this one now. So this is the one that can now stick onto the project. So I've got my stitching on there, and that is going to go onto here. You can either use foam pads or foam tape, but I'm going to do that at the end because I will need to put a bit of pressure on there for my circles that we're going to use, and a bit of trimming. So don't stick that on till much later. Okay, so let's pop that there. So what we need now, and I've cut a couple, but I need to cut a couple more. So I've used, from the nesting dies, I've used, and I'll show you these because this was like a second thought. I was going to do just circles, and I thought, oh, we need to make it a little bit more fancy. So why not bring in our newest additions to our dies, because they're beautiful, and of course they have this lovely stitched edge on as well. They look really nice. So what I've done, I've taken the last 3 on the set, so you'll see this is the biggest one, then I've gone with the next one down and the next one down. So basically come out from the inside for the 3. Now then, if you bring in your nesting dies, what you'll see, now I've written this down, I wrote it down on my little list so I could exactly tell you. So I've got scallop dies are actually, if you count from the beginning here, they're like 4, 5 and 6. And then on your big dies here, what I've done is I've gone with 5, 7 and 9 from the centre. So I've counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done 5, miss 1, 7, miss 1 and then 9, which is the one we've got here. So, and again, you can obviously measure up which ones of these go with the scallop ones to create those nice circles and with the layer underneath. So that's how you do those. And again, so just remember like 5, 7 and 9 and 4, 5 and 6. So that gives you a good idea as to how you're going to do that. Now these two, weirdly enough, would I actually cut them through the mini, which is brilliant. I think I actually did both of them at the same time, to be honest. So again, a quick way of cutting. Obviously, as we get to the next size up, this needs to go through the Gemini too. So we'll get those in there now. So obviously one from, because I want them to match, I'm actually doing this one. Now I wouldn't normally cut it in the middle, but because I want these 3 different colours to match the colours that are on the paper, that's why I've put it in the middle. But again, that'll be used. I can use that for an aperture. And then this one will go on here. So because I don't think I can, I might be able to get that through. I'll do that. Let's do one pass with both of them. Trim a little bit off there, it doesn't matter about that bit. And we can get 2 through there. And I'm doing these on watercolour cardstock as well. Not because I'm putting watercolours on, but because I want that cardstock to be the same colour as the background we've done here. If you do a different white, sometimes it can be a little bit too bright and too white. So we're going here with the exact same cardstock. So let's pop those through there. And then while that's cutting, we can just bring this other card in. So with the circles, once you've done them, and I love this now because it's got that really nice stitched edge around there, which is lovely. And then again, another clean cut, and we've just done it on the smaller plates, so it saves a little bit of time. We'll just pop those over there so I know they're all together. Okay, so now we can pop this onto here. Now I've put these on with my tacky glue. What I have done is I've lost my pin somewhere out of my glue. I think it's in the bottom of my bag. So I know, and I have got 2 or 3 others, obviously, but this is my fullest one. So I thought, right, well, I'll use this while I'm doing the craft along. So I'm just going to use a little amount here like this, just around the edge, because it's important that it sticks down on the edge. And remember that we're going on to watercolour waves cardstock, which is quite glossy. However, it will stick. If you want to do it with your tape runner, you can. If you want to do it with your all-purpose glue, you can. But it does bond very well on there. So I'm going to give that a little minute just to dry. Now, this is why we need to keep this separate from going on the card till later on. Because once you've got all your layers done, we need to trim a little bit off the edge. So we've not got the full circles on, and this is why we need to do that before we stick it on, because you wouldn't be able to do it otherwise. So we're going to have this one. Now I might just rearrange it slightly, because when I did the original card, I think when I was planning it out, I wanted this to kind of sit like here. So it overlapped possibly both of these, and when I actually stuck it on afterwards, I'd only gone over this one, so I felt it was a bit out of kilter. But you can change it round however you like. If you decide you want to have this one at the top, there, this one here, excuse me, so they're coming down in sizes, then you can do that as well. You might want to do that. You might want to have one right at the top. You might want to have one here like this, and this one here, and this one here. So that's up to you. However you want to put that on, you can do that. I'm going to repeat exactly what we've done, but I might just nudge that one up just a fraction onto what it was on the original, like that, just so I can get this in the middle here. So I'll probably have it in the middle so it's not actually overlapping anything. So what we need to do now, we need to stick that on. So we'll stick the small one on first. Now then, if we bring in the flowers, this will indicate how much you need to cut off. So for my biggest circle, I'm doing the biggest flower. So I need to make sure that if I'm having the flower just to the end, or more or less to the end, I want to make sure it'll fit on there to give me room here. And the same with the smaller one. So I've got some cut and some I need to cut. But as you can see here, like if we put that one on there, when we bring it onto the card itself here, the idea is that even though we've cut a portion of the circle off, we can still let these petals overlap onto this bit, if that makes sense. But again, if you want to change it, you might want to have them, you know, and this is the beauty of doing things like this, like the craft alongs. You might want to do that. You might want to do something like that and just have a sentiment like at the bottom. You might want to change it so your sentiment is here and it overlaps everything. You can decide on that. But again, I'm just giving you the way to do this. So this is how we get the sizes of the flowers and the sizes of the circles then. So if I bring another one of these in, so we can see then where we want to go with it. So we're not cutting a lot off, but we are cutting some off. So we're going to get these in position. First of all, I'll pop those flowers to one side. And we can just use this as well as the guide. But then when we come to stick this on after this, we'll go on pads. And so let's have a look. So you can see I'm cutting off probably, as I recall in my head, now when I think about it, I actually cut 8 of the scallops off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you want to cut it on your guillotine, you can. I did it, I think, with my scissors because I needed to make sure I was counting 8. So 1 is here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because then I can view from there up to there, and I can also just count that again now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you've got your big scissors, they will stretch up to that point, 5, 6, 7, up to there, like that. So as long as you've got a straight edge, like that, and then that will sit on there. But that goes right up to the edge. It doesn't go over, it's just the flowers that go over. Now again, you've got these bits left. So if you were wanting to add something else because you felt like it was a little bit, you know, unusual, or you've got extra bits, you can put those on there if you want to, and maybe just do a little bit of stitching on it, and then it would just match again, but that's another thing you can do. So we will do this one now. So let's pop that one in place, and I'm going a little bit higher with that one than on the original. And you'll see that each time you do it, it'll be different as well, because you're going to have different aspects of the card, because you'll use different sheets to what I've used from the Watercolour Waste pad. So you will, you know, yours will be different as well. And this will be different from the one, the original one. So let's pop that. I'm going to put that a little bit higher than the original one. If I bring that in, let's just push that up just a bit more there. So it's a bit higher, like that. I feel like, I think we've lost a foot here on the mat. It's a bit, yeah, I can hear it. I keep hearing it when I press it down. We'll sort that after. We'll sort that after. That's fine. Okay, and then we're going to do this one. So this time, I think we'll bring, because of the colour, we've got purple and pink here. I think we might bring in on this one a little bit of the yellow and the orange, just to kind of add a little bit of a difference. And then on this one, we can possibly have a bit of all three. But we turn it that way, then we've got the orange up to this bit and then the purple up to that bit. So we can do that. We can measure where the sentiment will go, and I think that would fit better on there. So let's pop this one here. And again, we can do, you can glue it all the way around if you want to. but don't forget to cut the bits off. I nearly forgot then, didn't I? So again, 8 scallops. Nearly forgot that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, with this, it will just give you, I'm just going to count that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm just gauging that like that. Okay, and again, that will give you a smaller piece that you can pop on to your project if you want to. And we can look at that after. So, I wonder if any of you who are watching have actually used these dies yet, or are there some that you've bought and you're meaning to use, but like we all do as crafters, we buy it because we love it and we go, I'm going to make that with that, and then obviously it goes in the drawer because then we buy something else. So there's a queue of stuff waiting, so it'd be nice to know if any of you have already used these, because they're very unusual. I haven't seen anything like this before, like a half flower. So yeah, I think it's be nice to see if you've actually made anything. And again, we'll keep that little piece over there because that can be used on something else. And then, so we're going to bring in let's bring in the yellow, more of the yellow here. So we've got a little bit of a difference. And again, chop 8 off. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that way then, 3, 4, all of your circles will kind of be the same. Now with this one, we could bring this lower, make it a little bit different to that one. We can put the sentiment here. We can put it exactly, we can take it higher like that so that we can have the sentiment here. I think I'll perhaps go with that. I think I'll go a bit higher with that one as well so we can kind of get that in there. So we can stick that onto there now. So let's just glue this in. So I'm guessing all of you who are watching now are ready for Christmas. I am just not ready at all. Hopefully by the time we get to, mind you, I'm back up here on Monday as well, Monday and Tuesday, so working right up to the end really. So I will go back home Christmas Eve. So yeah, so I've got to figure out when I can get some Christmas like food. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, when am I going to get the food? However, I'm sure, yeah, I'll get it. I might get it tomorrow, maybe. Okay, so now we've got our 3 little sections on there like that. So it's like a little bit different to that one, but only a fraction. Nothing major really. So the next thing we want to do now then is we can either, so we've got 2 things we can do now. We can either stick this on there now so that it's in place, which is always a good idea, or what we can do is put it on at the end. But sometimes then, when you've got your flowers on, you need to turn it over and put your tape on the back. Your flowers get a bit flattened. So I think what we'll do is we'll pop 1 or 2 pads on now, and these are the bigger ones. So this is going to make life easier. So we'll go 1 down there, 1, we'll do another one there, and then we'll bring this one across. And remember, we're on watercolour cardstock here, so it's quite tough anyway, watercolour cardstock. So again, you know, we don't need masses of pads on. We can pop, we'll do that one there. And then it's always good to have a couple in the middle, just so that you know then you've got a nice even section all the way around. And again, we can do them portrait and landscape as well, so that when we put that down now, we know that that's solid. And you'll see I did have a little smudge here, but that's fine, that'll be covered with the sentiment anyway. Okay, so let's pop this in place and then we can start to build up the flowers. And they are like a half flower, so what you would do is cut it 2 or 3 times and layer it up so that your petals can be offset like both ways. And then we've got some middle sections, and then we've got quite a few different bits of middles that we can put on. And I'm going to use this lovely spiky one. I'm going to double it up as well so it looks really quite prominent. So we can now pop that one onto there, like that. And then press that down so that's nice and firm, like that. Okay, brush those to one side. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start to build up the flowers. So let's bring it in. What I've done, I've gone through the watercolour pad and I've looked at the colours, and I've left any green out on this one because there was some page that had a lot of green and teal, but I've kind of gone with purples, oranges, pinks and yellows in this one. So I've already cut one from yellow and pink and one from purple, and I want to do another one here, and then I'll decide which one goes on top. Another thing you can do as well, if you wanted it to be a whole flower, if you cut it from the same, you can still marry them up like that as a whole flower and actually put a middle in. So again, you can still do that. And another thing you can do, and I should have brought one with me actually, if you cut this out of cardstock and then take the die off and then put the die back onto the cardstock you've cut from and line these two up with these two and then put it through the machine and cut it again, you will end up with like a whole flower stencil that you can ink through. So again, you could be doing that as a background or whatever. But this is, again, this is another great thing about Crafterscompanion dies. It allows you to use all those scrappy bits of everything that you've collected from all your paper pads, and that's the lovely thing about it as well. So let's get on now with cutting some flowers. So bring in the mini, because the mini is perfect for this, and it's nice and handy as well. For doing the cutting the flowers. Now if you want to tape it on, you can. If you are used to your mini, you'll know that you can just do that. You can just press your folder onto it and it will cut, and it cuts beautifully from the watercolour cardstock. Watercolour waves, it really does. So with this one now, we can do the darker one at the bottom. So what we would turn this just slightly that way. So you can see that this bit is kind of sloping then. So you can do it, I mean, if you want to do the whole, you know, a big angle like that, you can. And then you can bring this one this way. So what you will do, you would do that way if you wanted to, like that. With mine, what I've done, because I've lifted up the petals, I just kind of done it like that. Because once we get the middle section on, you don't notice it. So then if you glue these together, or you use your red liner tape, which was what I did, they'll go flat, and then once they're down, you can lift these up. So we'll do that. We'll put a little bit of, we can actually glue the base one on. And the reason I've used red liner tape on top is because it's not porous. So because we're going to be jiggling things around, we want to make sure that it does attach, and especially as we want to lift the petals. So that one will go on there, and then we'll bring in a little bit of red tape, and again, you don't need loads on here. And what I'm doing is, rather than putting it right to the end, which is the normal practice, I'm bringing it a little bit higher up here, like that. Because if we have it on the end, because they overlap, I don't want this sticky bit here to catch here and take the effect of the central part of the flower. So now we can add that one to there, like that. And we're going to just do that so we've got the gaps in there. And then we'll do another little piece on this one. And then we can put this on top, like that. Okay, like that. So we're just layering that on top of there like that. And then what we've got then is we can lift these up straight away. And if you put your finger there, the rounded part of your finger, it stops the flower coming all the way up. And then you can just lift up these petals as well, like that. So it just gives it a little bit of life. Straight away, it's more of a full flower now. And then what we do is we can add the centre. So I've got a couple of centres cut, and I'll probably have to do a couple more. And I've tried to do these from the yellow that's in the on the papers. So I've got a couple of different ones, one where it's gone a little bit paler, a little bit more orangey, a little bit more peach in there. And again, it's up to you which bits you have on top. And I'm going to put these two on top of each other and then offset those as well, because that then makes a nice kind of chunky middle. Yeah, it makes it like nice and full. And of course you can bend these as well if you want to. I don't think I've actually cut a piece of tape off there, have I? So we'll do that now. And again, because it's not, it's porous, we're going to add some red tape on here. Okay. So let's pop this on here, like that. Okay, so you can see then you've got that. It's lovely when it's put together like that. And then what you can do, you can lift some up, you can leave some down. And because you've got it's a thin strip with like a blob on the end, you can get quite a bit of shape on these. And they look quite natural actually as well. And then of course you start to do them in different colours. So that then becomes the middle. And then what we can do with that, we can attach that into there like that. And I'll bring that down, then you can see it. So you end up with your nice little kind of middle section like that. So it looks a bit more realistic. Okay, so with that one, we'll put a little bit more red tape on that one while it's going on to again, the watercolour waves, which is nice and shiny, glossy. And we put that one onto there. Okay, so, and what you can do is you can line up the stamens so that they just sit like that. And we'll just pull that down a little bit. And then these will lift. And obviously you can play around with those after once you've got all your other bits and bobs on the project. But yeah, it does look quite nice. Now there's also as well on the die set, you've got this little middle bit here. So if you wanted to add that as well, cut that out in maybe a contrast and pop that in the middle, you can do that too. Or you might want to use your pearl drops, make a big pearl in the middle. You might want to use some of your gems. So again, it's all about bringing in what you've treated yourself to this in the last month or two. Okay, so we're going to do the next flower now. So we'll just pop those to that side, and I'm going to get rid of that. So we're going to bring in, now we've got the small daisy, which has got more like a rounded petal, and then we've got the one that we're using at the minute here, which has got a more pointy petal. So if I think for this one, because we've gone with that colour and we've got the yellow as well, we're going to cut this from the pink bit at the top here. So let's pop that die back on there, and we'll bring this one in off the sheet. And you'll also see all these little like flutters you've got. You've got the hearts, the stars, like a regular star, and you've got these like little diamond stars. You've got the butterflies, you've got the leaves as well, and the flowers. So you've got quite a bit to go at on there. So that's, you know, it's up to you which you choose. So we're going to cut this one from the pink now. I think I can just get that on there. If not, I can turn it on an angle like that so that I can get that done in the pink. And I know that all the petals won't have gone over the edge. Get scraps of it's great. You can use up all your bits that, you know, things like this you don't want to actually be getting rid of, do you? You want to keep them. So in a box, and then you can use them as and when. Now with this one, we've got the yellow, we've got the purple, and we've got the pink. So we can have a pink flower on the top. Again, we can go like the last one, where we have the darker at the bottom, and then we have this one here. Again, that's quite nice, because again, it picks out the colours around the edge. So we'll do that one. So we'll glue this one. We'll turn the card round, because this time, what we're going to do, I thought, because we've got this circle going off here, we'd have the flower there. Same with this one here. So we'd have the flower at this end, and then with this one, we're going to have the flower at the bottom. So you can see we've still got that nice little like difference on there with each of the flowers and the circles. So what we're going to do with this one, you'll did it the wrong way then. So we're going to let it just hang over the edge there again, like we did with the first one. And that can go on there. And then again, we'll bring in a piece of the red tape, and we'll put that there. And that can sit nicely onto that one. And again, just turn it a little bit so you've got the petals offset. Have you used these dies, Liam? Apart from I mean, you use them, yeah. He's probably got no time, have you, really? Really? Oh, well, that's a shame. Yeah, it's when we do the marketing boards and things and the sales boards, I think, well, Brent normally does those, doesn't he? If he's, when he's, you know, that's one of his roles. So obviously that he probably has them all and probably stashes them in his cupboard and doesn't share them with you. I keep saying, do you craft at all, Brent? And he says, not really, I can, but I don't. I was like, all right, we need to change that, don't we? We need to have everybody crafting. Man or woman, young or old. Do you know what? I haven't started my Christmas cards either. I do this every single year. I'm like, Christmas Eve, I'm sat going, oh my goodness, I need to get these put through my neighbours' doors. Which is terrible. They've all put them through our doors, and now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, haven't we started to make them yet? So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do this time, but I'll find. It's not that I've not got anything, is it? Time. That's the thing we need. Yeah. Maybe what we need to do is to kind of, when we start doing Christmas in June and July, we need to start making our cards then, because, you know, that's when all the lovely products are out, and that's when you have the inspiration, isn't it? And you're ready to do it then. But of course it is time. You know, when you've done a full day and you get home, it's like, you know, especially when it's dark now, dark in the morning, dark at night, you go, oh, I just want to have my tea, put my slippers on, watch a bit of TV, and then it's bed, because work again tomorrow. So, who does? Does Leanne really do that? Oh my goodness, that's a brilliant idea. 1 a week from January. Yeah, it's a very good idea, that, isn't it? Maybe that's what we need to do then. Maybe we need to follow Leanne's example and go with that. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I have got a few that I've done, like, you know, that I've done here. Or if I've done them as a craft along, I've left the original here and taken the other one back home or something. So I have got a really big, like, it's like a cardboard rack. And I put them all in a couple of weeks ago. Everything that I've done that didn't need to be, like, stay here, I've put them all in a rack. And I'll tell you what, there's a fair few building up now. But they're not all Christmas cards. Obviously, there's all kinds of other little things in there as well. So yeah. Right, so we've got 2 of the flowers. Now we're going with the smaller daisies. So again, I've cut one in like a nice lilac-y bluish, one in the yellow, and then I'm going to cut the other one from this nice kind of pinky colour. So this one will be a little bit different. So I will bring in my little die for this one, and we'll put that one on there, and we can cut that out, and then we can piece that together. So you can see it's coming together nicely now. And so we'll take this one off here. Let's pop that back on the sheet, and I know that's safe. So, now then, which order do we do here? This is exciting. Again, we've got yellow on the top, we've got the pink, the blue underneath. Do we do the pink on top? Do we do the blue on top? Oh my goodness. Choices, choices, choices. I think I might go with the purple on top this time, like that. I quite like that one. So I think we'll do that one. Let's just try that. We'll definitely have the purple on top. I like the pink at the bottom and the yellow in between. So we'll do that. So we can glue this one on. And remember, we need to do it so the petals overhang the circle. So let's just do that. A bit of glue on the bottom one. And that will go there. Now, obviously, this is a smaller circle. I know I've got a smaller flower, but we still need to make sure that we're fitting it on there. And we've got room for some flutters. It's funny, talking about flutters, when I go to my mum's house, she's done, you know, she's getting on quite a bit now, but she'll say, oh, I've done some hoovering. I've moved all the flutters. That's what she says. And the flutters are all the things that, you know, like if you come in and you take your scarf off and you throw it over the back of the couch, but you don't move it. And then you might have like your purse on the side, and you might have your glasses case, and somebody might have brought you a, you know, a card round, and you've taken out the envelope, but you haven't moved the envelope. The envelope's on the side. She calls those flutters. So all the little bits that need putting away that are just left out. So and that's just reminded me now. That's what she says. Quite funny, isn't it? What reminds you of things? Yeah. And here we are. Our meaning of flutters here are all the little bits that are drifting away like from the flower. So, right, so we'll pop this one here now. And that one can just go there like that. So we can still see all those nice petals, like that. And then what we can do, again, lift them up so they've got a bit more life in them and a bit more dimension. And what you could do with this, I mean, you could always keep it flat and then tell your recipient, oh, you need to like kind of, you know, lift your petals up on your flowers, and that could be something they might want to do. Right, so we've got another one of these, so I need to cut another of the centres now, and then we can pop that on top of that one, put that in the middle, and then we'll stamp the sentiment, and we're going to heat emboss the sentiment with just some clear powder, and I'm going to use the chameleon ink for that. Because it's a nice subtle purple, so again it works really nice. I mean, it's got quite a lot of purple in, but I think any of the chameleon inks would work because they have got those lovely colours in them as well. So let's chop this, a bit of red tape just to get those back together, and then pop them, overlap them like that, just so that they are offset. And then again, a bit more red tape on there, and that will go into the middle of the small flower. So you can see that this like little double stamen will go in the front, in the middle, sorry, not the front, it'll go in the centre of all the flowers regardless of the size really. So it doesn't look odd, it doesn't look overpowering, but I just thought these were quite nice to put in the middle, a little bit of dimension on there. And again, we can pop that a little bit further into the middle of that one. Well, it's a smaller flower. And this card is lovely because it really does kind of, it's very soft, even though it's a thick card and it's got that glossy finish on, it really does mould quite nicely. So you can bend it a little bit, which I quite like. Right, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to bring in the stamp and the ink pad, and I'm going to get my little tab. Now this is just a piece of watercolour card again, and just so it matches, I've cut it in a rectangle and then chopped the end off, so we've got a little bit of an angle, and then I've done the same with a darker piece of the watercolour waves card as well. So that will go on there in a second, but what I'm going to do is stamp it first and then heat emboss it. So I'm just going to bring in my little old tray to collect my powder in. Yes, good job you mentioned that, Liam, because I hadn't thought of that. Liam's just saying, have you stitched on there as well? Yes, I have. Another 4 stitching around the edge of that just to kind of finish it off. And then what we're going to do, we're going to stamp this beautiful sentiment. Now, if I bring the stamps in, these are really nice because I'm using this one here, which is, we've got a couple like this, which I call like an empty stamp. It doesn't mean it's empty of feeling. It means it's like empty, so it's not solid, so you can add colour to it. We're going to add a bit of colour with the glitter pen that we used for the splats. So this is quite subtle. This is the lavender haze, and I'm just going to pop that onto there like that. So I'm giving it a good press on there, because this is a mix of dye and pigment, but you can still heat emboss on it. So what we'll do, we'll pop that into the middle of there, more or less, and then I'll give it a, I'm just going to have to lean over it a little bit, like that. Okay, and press that down, give it a good press, like that, so we know it's taken, because I'm not using the base of the, you know, like the whole platform, so I'm just doing it like this, because this is nice and easy. And I do trust this, so there we go, perfect. And then what we'll do, bring in my tray. Now you can see that it's very, very thin on the edge, but if you put some clear powder on like that, tap it off, and then we'll just bring in the heat tool, and we'll heat that up. So it's going to be quite a subtle finish on it because it's a thin outline, but you'll be able to see it does actually go quite shiny and glossy, and when you feel it, you can feel that it's definitely embossed. I can see it changing like that, and then we'll just turn it round so I don't burn myself. Just do that bit there. I can see that going clear now. Okay, like that. And we're going to turn that off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my, let me just bring in my pen here. So I'm using the gold now, the gold pen, the goldy yellow. This is actually the yellow Cosmos. Now, because I pumped quite a lot of it out before, I just want to take some of that spare ink off there. So what I'm going to do is take my pen now and ever so carefully and lightly just go in there like that. And I can see all that lovely glitter and like the mica just floating around in there. Then what we'll do is we'll pop that to one side and we'll do the little fluttery bits before I put this on. Because again, this is going to need time to dry. So this is something you would probably have to pop to one side just to let it dry properly. And I'm hoping it will have dried off a little bit for us to put it onto the little blue, purpley blue tab that we've got as well, like a background. So we'll do that onto there. And if you've not got the glitter pens, you could always colour it in just a regular pen. And then if you've got the clear glitter sparkle pen that you could put over the top to sparkle it up a bit, you can do that. So you can see that that looks really nice now. If I tilt that a little bit, you can see how it does kind of glisten and glitter. It's really, really nice. So I'm going to pop that to one side there in the hope that will dry. But it's not the end of the world if it doesn't. Right, so what we need to do now is we need to bring in some of the little flutters. Now, I have cut a lot, but what I have done, I've not cut these using the watercolour waves paper. I've actually used some of the holographic washi tape. And what you can do is if you take strips of it and just put it across like that, take it around the back there, and then you will cut from that. As long as you give it a good press down, that will stick onto the card. So what I'll do is I'll just chop, let's chop this bit off here, like this. And I will show you, because I've already got a lot of bits cut anyway, but I'll show you how we do that. It's quite easy with the hearts, because the hearts are all in a row. So you can pop your hearts on there, and believe it or not, grab a piece of tape just to make sure it stays where we put it while we cut it. That's a little rhyme there, make sure it stays. We'll put it while we cut it. Even though it looks like it's overlapping the edge of the tape, you'd be surprised. The cutting line is quite a bit inside. So you can get all three hearts from there. So I'm going to bring this in and show you how you can do that. So it's quite easy with the hearts because, as I say, they're in a line. And also with the little like diamond effect stars, they're in a line as well. So you can get those on. It becomes a little bit more tricky with the others because they're not in a line, so they span over. But you can see now how nicely it die cuts. And again, the colours are perfect because they match really well with the paper. So you can see now how we've got those there. So if I were to cut, yeah, it's different. It's a different way of using your washi tape, you know. You could even probably now put them through an embossing folder. I mean, bear in mind, it is sticky, and I've stuck mine on onto the watercolour card. No, I've not actually. Sorry, I tell a lie. I've just put them on regular flat card because I felt like it would stick on that because it's flat rather than something a bit more kind of mottled or textured. The only thing is now, if you want to cut something like that, the flowers are on an angle. So what you need to do is look at how you can get probably two. So if I do that one, I mean, with that one, that's not too bad because it's pretty much like a right angle. But the butterflies are a bit more tricky. If I bring the butterflies in, what you'll probably have to do with the butterflies is you'll have to do like the big one, like that. So I'll show you. So you will have a little bit more waste on this, but it still works because you're using minute bits of it really. So let's bring this into here like this. So you can see now we've got the full butterfly there. I should have probably done an extra pass and brought it back through there because it is quite thick. We've got a full butterfly and a smaller one, but then this one, obviously we've only got a bit of one. So what you would do now is you would go back in with this one, put the small one on there or slightly angled so you could get that one cut, and then that will give you the smaller one. So you will have to adjust according to the die. But it will work, and like I said, they're so small anyway, that's, you know, you can do it. Well, you could actually see Liam is a savvy crafter. Liam saying, well, you could tuck that under one of the others, which you absolutely could do, to be honest, couldn't you? That would be brilliant. So what we've got here now, I've got a bag of butterflies that I've cut from lots of the washi tapes, just in strips. You won't need loads. I always cut too many just to be on the safe side. So what I'll be doing now, I'll bring all these out on the table here, and I'm just going to add some of these. So obviously, with the I've got the big one here, and you can bend them a little bit. The butterfly will shape. The flower not quite so much, and I'm just going to do a little bit of tacky glue on there, and then that will stick. Try and not do the wings up too high until it's started to bond, because you can do that afterwards. We'll just glue in the like the body of the butterfly. And the idea with this now is that you just kind of build them up. So let's see, we've got a pink one there. So we can just build them up so we've got a little bit of contrast on those. So I'm going to tuck that one in underneath like that. Just bring my poker tool so you can still see that. Lift that one up, you can see it there. And then we'll pop another, let's pop another one. Let's pop a purple small one in there. And you can put tons of these on, you really can. You know, you can go to town with them all. And you can overlap them as well, which is quite nice to do. When you've got some stuck down, and then like this one now, you could start to lift up its wings, and this one, so you might be able to tuck others under there as well now. So let's see if we've got, yeah, let's have this pink one. So the pink one can be tucked underneath like that, because once you start to lift up the wings, they're all kind of fluttering behind each other, which is quite nice. And then we'll pop a little yellow on here. Okay, and this is something you can take time with. This is the fiddliest bit, but it's kind of quite nice to do because it's a bit different as well. The fact we've got all the different sizes. So you start to do that. And then we do the same up at the top with the hearts. So again, we'll grab a purple heart here. And we'll bring in some of the other hearts. So I've got a bit of an obsession. I don't know if any of you crafters have as well, with like little bags. And you cut everything and put it in little bags. I've just got a bit of a strange obsession. I know Debbie Fisher does it as well. I know she cuts, doesn't she? Yeah, it does. And then it stays in in my bag with all my other bits, so that if I do have to do another show, or say if I go to Hobby Maker or something, I need to do a show with the bits, I still got like lots of bits cut out, which is always quite nice, because we don't get much time on there to kind of demo really, or cut everything like we do up here at Crafters. So, but again, it's good to keep them all. I'm slightly off the screen here, aren't I? I'm opposite that. I'm always heading off into another direction. Right, okay, so we'll grab another little purple one here, and we'll pop that there under the stamen, like that. How long have I got left, Liam? A few minutes? Perfect, perfect. So, let's grab another big pink heart in there, and we'll get another, let's do this yellow one here. And then, so you can see how you can build this up. I mean, if I bring in the, well, if I can find it, the packaging of the die set, you'll see that on here we've got like a mass of hearts and a mass of butterflies and a mass of flowers. It's up to you. You can start to bring them all around as well. You can put sentiment across and do the flowers poking out from behind, so you just need the half flower. So the next few little bits we need to do are just pop a few little flowers on here. And then with the sentiment, if I bring the original in, because I want to bring that in and then you can see that, what I've done is I've continued like the little flowers here. I did look at bringing a cascade of them down, but it was a bit too much. So what I've done, I've tried to match them up with what's nearest. So again, and you'll probably do a different take on this, but I'm sure you'll make a lovely job of whatever you do and however you use them, if you've not already used them. So let's grab we'll have a little pink flower up there, like that. Again, we can overlap them. You can pull the petals up on these if you want to. You know, they will lift up around that circle. So that's an option for you. Let's tuck that down there. And we'll do a big red flower, pink flower. It's like a reddy pink. Again, I think it works really nicely with the washi tape because it kind of, it makes them very shiny, so you notice them a bit more. And then we'll have, let's see what else we've got. We've got another couple here. So we're doing a little yellow one here, I think, at the bottom, just there. And you can add more, obviously. You'll cut lots, and then you can, you know, and you can mix them up as well. So then what we need to do is, now the sentiment looks like it is drying pretty quickly. So what I'll do for the time that we've got, I will pop this on with the tacky glue. Now I know that we're going on to card here, the watercolour shiny card, but as you saw me do it with the circles, you know, tacky glue worked, it bonded on there really nicely. So what I want to do here as well, a couple of pads, and we can lift that up on a pad or two. Okay, and just nudge that back to where it was. So we'll do one there like that. And then put that in place. Just jiggle that up a little bit there. So that is going to sit there, like that. We're just overlapping, just this one slightly, and that one as well. And then all you need to do then is add one or two little elements to the edge of your sentiment here, just to kind of bring that theme in. We've got the butterflies here, so I'll pop that one at the bottom there. So it does, in fact, I'll pop that one there instead, because it does need a little bit more space, that one. And we'll do a small one. See if we've got a small one somewhere here. I think we have. On here, if we haven't, it doesn't matter. I can, oh, what's that one? We can always put a bigger one on. Let's do a big, what have I got on there? Let me find the pink. There's a pink one. We can do that one. It doesn't matter about the size for this one. But I did put a small one. I did vary the sizes. You might not want 3 on. You might want 2 on. You might want to pop it somewhere completely different. Again, we've got that one. So we've got a couple of minutes left. So let's just get a couple more on. And these are just going on randomly now. We'll pop that one there. And we'll do a purple one. And if you want to, you can just actually do the glue onto there. It's a little bit easier. Middle-sized one here. And like that. And then we just have flowers. We can just get these on, I think, in the time we've got. Again, if you pull the petals in on these, you'll fit these on a little bit better. Got that one there. And then we'll do a little purple one by the side here. And then probably somewhere on here I've got a little yellow one. But anyway, if I haven't, it doesn't matter. We can just do a bigger one. Let's see where that's just gone. There it is. We can just do a bigger one on here for now. But you can do the 3 small, medium and large as well. And we can just stagger that a little bit up there. And then I think we just got there, didn't we, in time? I think we just did it. And I'm going to put those to the front camera now. So this is the one we've just done. And this is the original one. So there's a slight difference, but nothing major. Just a little bit different. And again, it's just something you can do. It would be great if you tried it and you actually showed us exactly how you'd done it. That would be great. But have a go. Make sure you get them out of the packets and you have a go and make something yourself, and then post some of your pictures on our Crafters Companion page, and then we can see what you did. In the meantime, we will join you again soon, and hopefully you will enjoy your Saturday, the rest of your Saturday and tomorrow, Sunday, in the build up to Christmas, and we will see you on one of our shows soon. Thank you for watching.